Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing here my Shadow Rider Calyrex VMax deck. This deck was one that I got a little bit late down the line, so I actually bought the League Battle deck for this, which already got me 3 copies of everything. That was definitely really amazing because I didn't really need the 4th copy anyway, but I didn't want to have to buy a 2nd copy of a League Battle deck just to get the 3rd copy of the Calyrex VMaxes. So yeah, definitely fantastic product making there. But yeah, this was a deck that I got maybe a few months ago. Hadn't even bothered to open up the League Battle deck, and I feel like now it's definitely too late. I've had a chance to play with it, but not as much as I'd hoped, because with April around the corner we are definitely going to be losing this deck, and it's sad to see, you know. I definitely missed out, but hey, if anything, it just means that we got something to look forward to, a new format with new cards to look forward to playing there. But with that being said, I did want to document this deck before it actually goes away, so hopefully everything turns out okay, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And if you do, drop a like, share, comment, and subscribe. It definitely helps out the channel a huge amount. But with all that out of the way, let's begin. So starting off here, we're going to be playing our 3 copies of the Shadow Rider Calyrex VMax. I'll also follow up here by playing my 3 copies of my regular Calyrex V. This is essentially the only engine you really need to play because it works towards each other, you know. What you want to do is you essentially just want to set up your whole board filled with nothing but Calyrex VMaxes. That's it. And you're essentially attaching energy and dealing a bunch of attack. And what I like about this particular deck is that it allows you to use just the Calyrex V on its own as well. So sometimes I might have 2 Calyrex VMaxes out, but I might leave one of my Calyrex Vs unevolved so that I could actually use the Astral Barrage attack. It's definitely a very powerful attack, allowing you to essentially deal 5 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon anywhere they are. It doesn't have to be on the active zone, can both be on the bench as well. And then with the Calyrex VMax dealing the damage, majority of it that is, it would most likely knock out your opponent's Pokemon, and vice versa with the Calyrex V. And the funny thing is, the last Pokemon we're playing acts more so like a supporter card or an item card. So this here is Pumpkaboo. Pumpkaboo essentially just removes one of the opponent's stadiums in play, and if you find that you don't need the Pumpkaboo, just discard it. That's really all that matters here. I'm going to be playing here the Iono as usual, just to maintain that control. I'll play 3 copies here of Professor's Research. You don't really need any more than that. Honestly, even 2 researches definitely does the job, just because Calyrex VMax already allows you to draw more cards. And we're also going to be wrapping up things here with 2 copies of Boss's Orders. Of course, it's nice, but Calyrex V has the Astral Barrier, which already is able to hit any of your opponent's Pokemon wherever they are. So the Boss's Orders doesn't come up as often as I would expect it to. For a few other supporters, just to really get things going, 4 copies here of Battle VIP Pass, 4 copies here of Chromomatic, and I'm also playing 4 copies here of Fog Crystal. This is the consistent dozen, I guess. It is something that I just really like in this particular deck to get things going. It really speeds things up, and you could really just knock out a bunch of Pokemon on either turn 2 or turn 3, and you'd be very close to finishing the game there. I mean, with this particular build, I would have to say that very likely the game ends before turn 6 or 7, which is definitely fantastic because I am not too big a fan of dragging out games too long. Alright, so moving on, we're going to be playing 4 copies here of Lost Vacuum. There are a lot of pesky cards out there, both tools and stadiums, and I want to get rid of them in some sort of way. Playing 4 of these definitely does a huge deal for the deck. We're going to be playing 4 copies here of Energy Switch as well. This just allows for my Calyrexes to be able to make their attacks if need be. Let's say one is just far too damaged, I don't want to keep it out on the board, I'll just retreat it, but I'll use the energy switch to maneuver the energy towards them to get enough for an attack. I'll also be playing here 4 copies of Crushing Hammer. I want to slow down the opponent as much as possible, and frankly speaking, there's not much to lose out of it. Even if you flip a tails, it's like whatever, but if you flip a heads, then you still get to discard an energy, which is definitely fantastic, which is why I'm playing 4 copies, because I do expect a few to fail and the others to go off. Next up, I have 4 copies here of the Switch. This allows me to essentially mitigate the damage as much as possible by retreating the ones that are far too damaged and then bringing out the ones I actually need. So this is definitely fantastic. Also allowing me to sort of control whether or not I want to use my Calyrex VMax or my Calyrex V as a means to end the game. Whichever I need, at least I have Switch available. And that goes the same with the escape rope as well, because regardless, if I know I'm going to win, then you may as well just have it. I'm also going to be playing Choice Belt. Sometimes I just need a bit more attack just to get over the board here, and yeah, this definitely does the job. I'll end things off here with the 2 copies, well, 1 copy each of course, of Forest Sealstone and the Heavy Ball. Again, they're pretty self-explanatory at this point because they both just sort of like do their own thing. Now for this deck in particular, I did want to bring up 2 cards here, or 1 particular card at 2 copies that sort of is relevant for this deck, and that is going to be the Earthen Vessel. I'm playing 2 copies of this card. You do have to discard another card, but it does get your basic energies to your hand a lot sooner, allowing your Calyrex VMax abilities to be more active. Alright, so moving on to energies, honestly speaking, I would rather just fill up my entire energy line with nothing but psychic energy, because that's the majority of it. I'm only playing 6, that may seem like a little, but generally speaking, I don't find myself going into the late games too much. It ends out pretty quickly, and all I need is really 2 attacks. So sometimes my opponent is still going to be setting up, and I'm already done with the game itself. I'm going to be playing cards such as Jet Energy, cards such as Treasure Energy, and I'm also going to be playing the 2 V-Guard energies as well. These are all colorless energy because Calyrex VMax and V both don't need any colors for their attacks. They simply do, well, it's mainly just Calyrex VMax that needs the psychic energy to deal out as much damage. So if you feel that it's not sufficient enough, you can easily swap out all of this and put in nothing but psychic energies, and so you would at least have 10 psychic energies to work with here, definitely making the deck a lot more consistent and a lot more powerful by having the energies to deal the additional 30 damages. So that essentially wraps it up for this particular deck. It is one of the most ratio driven decks out there, because you could really adjust the ratios for almost anything in this deck and it could change things up so much, but it's a matter of who you're actually playing against. At least in my community, this particular deck is something that allows me to end games really quickly, and as a result of that, these are the particular ratios that I play. If I was playing in any other community, it might be completely different. So who are you really playing against? You know, depending on what your opponents are playing, you could drastically change up this deck. So I do encourage you guys to share your builds on the comment section down below. It would be very fun to see how things change drastically between each of our decks. However, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this particular video and I hope you all have a fantastic day. I will see you all next time.